Well, welcome back to number 3 in our series of books that have changed my life. Now, we've done 2 of the classics, Think and Grow Rich and The Power of Positive Thinking, but I want to make things a little bit more contemporary. The latest one I read and had a big impact on me was the book by David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. It's co-written with Adam Skolnick, and it's a powerful book. That's all I can say. It is wow. But a little warning, it's harrowing in parts. The story of his childhood abuse, the physical things that he put himself through, the challenges that he faced and forced himself to go through to make him the man that he is today are exceptional. And it challenges all of us. It certainly challenged me to start pushing my limits a bit more, to step outside of my comfort zone and to realize that really, if I'm going to pursue greatness in my life, if I'm going to pursue all the potential that I have, then I need to keep pushing at those limits that I unconsciously or consciously have placed on myself. Now, the cover of the book, I hope you can see this, but is like that. Now, I don't have the book because I got the Audible version, the Amazon Audible. And that was great because Adam Skolnick actually does most of the recitation of the book. But what he does do is he interviews David Goggins at the end of each chapter. So not only do you get a kind of review of the chapter from David, you get other insights. And Adam asks some really interesting, pertinent questions. And the responses from David are very powerful. So I recommend getting the book, but certainly the Audible version was really, really exciting. It's very powerful. If you want to tap into your more, I think we're all born with this innate sense that there's something required of us, that there's something we're here to do. There's something that there's a mission and a purpose there. And sometimes that requires us to be more, to do more than we have been or done before. And that can be a challenge for us because we all want security, we all want comfort. But I love, there's a great quote from Pope Benedict XVI, and it is, "The world offers you comfort, but we weren't made for comfort. We were made for greatness." I love that quote, and it fits beautifully into the theme of this book. He had a terrible childhood. As a consequence, he had some learning disabilities. He was well behind at school, not his own fault, but his circumstances. But he learnt to cheat to get through. And by his own admission, when he was late teens, he looked at himself in the mirror and he decided, you are a obese, lazy fraud of a person, which is pretty confronting when you're looking at yourself in the mirror. He calls it his accountability mirror, and he has this as an exercise throughout the book and throughout his life of looking himself in the mirror and confronting the truth about himself, but then making the challenge to change, setting goals, setting a vision for his life, where he wanted to go, what he wanted to do. And initially, what changed his thinking was he wanted to get into the Air Force. And he had to lose an enormous amount of weight. He had to get fit, and he did that in a very short space of time. But there are also some requirements from a study perspective. He had to pass this admission exam, if you like. And he knew that he was well behind the 8 ball in that regard, but he pushed himself and taught himself to study and to learn despite his difficulties. And he repeated that in other episodes in his life. Eventually he became a Navy SEAL, and that was hard enough. But then He is, I think, the only one in American military history to have done Ranger training as well, and the Delta Force training, and then he extends himself physically even further by starting to run ultra marathons, 100-mile races, etc., so that he can raise money for the families of his fellow Navy SEALs who've gone down in battle. So this altruistic desire extends him even further, and then he confronts his physical and mental limits as he challenges himself to these new opportunities, these new challenges. And he is amazing with what he pushes his brain and body to do. And what he comes back to all the time through the book is it's a mental game. This whole life thing is a head game. Success, achievement is a head game. If you can master what happens between the ears, then you can master what happens physically, and you can push yourself and gain success and achievement in your life that you didn't think was possible. And he's the living example of this. And as he says himself, he said, if I can do it, you can do it. He said, he says of himself, and I don't agree, but that he was dumb and so on. He wasn't dumb. He was very smart and continues to develop his mind. But he was extraordinary in not being willing to accept his limitations. And that's what I found confronting and challenging in my own life. And looking around, on reflection from the book, I've seen, you know what? I have got comfortable in areas of my life. I know there's more in me. There's more I can do, more I can be. And if I really want to suck all the joy out of life, all the experience out of life, then I've got to be willing to push myself further. And that's what this book has done for me. It's challenging. You find yourself looking at yourself, being more accountable for yourself and your behavior and the things that are going on in your life, but also it is so magnificently primed to push you to become all that you can be. So I highly recommend this book. It had a big impact on me. I loved it. So from that perspective, have a go. There's a link to the book in the description. You can go to Amazon and get the Audible or the actual book, and you won't regret it. If you want to go further in your life, if you want to be more, experience more, challenge yourself to more, and receive more, this is a book for you. Enjoy.